Welcome everyone to Stillwater, where the Oklahoma State Cowboys are about to take the field. A week later than expected, they were scheduled to host Tulsa last Saturday. That game was moved back a week due to COVID concerns at Tulsa. But they're ready to go today, and we will have fans in the stands here at Boone Pickens Stadium. About 15,000, 25% of capacity. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by Geico. This is the Big 12 on ESPN, non-conference opener for Oklahoma State against their rivals from 72 miles away. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge. Excited to have you with us. They're very excited about the football season here at Oklahoma State. They think they have a championship caliber team, and it's easy to understand why. A lot of talent, particularly on offense. They return the leading rusher in the country from a year ago in Chuba Hubbard. They also welcome back Tylan Wallace. He's a 2,500-yard plus receiver. Chuba over 2,800 yards in his career rushing. It's the first time as well the FBS team has had a returning Doak Walker Award finalist as the best running back and a Bolitnikoff Award finalist as the best wide receiver. And that's just a little bit of the talent on this Oklahoma State team.
Well, the reason there's so much excitement is those two guys. Those are two of the premier players in all of college football. Big play potential every time they touch the football. And those two guys made the decision to come back to pursue a Big 12 championship because they also know they got a returning starter at quarterback in Spencer Sanders and 10 of 11 starters back on an improving defense. So a lot of excitement about the Cowboys.
And some excitement in Tulsa as well. They were 4-8 a year ago, but they return a lot of talent on offense in the playmaking spots, and we'll check in with Chris Budden on that in a moment. Oklahoma State won the toss and deferred, so Tulsa will receive the opening kickoff. Jake McClure is the kickoff man. Deneric Prince, the transfer from Texas A&M, on the return for Tulsa. Down on the field, here's Chris Budden.
Well, some injury news for Tulsa. They'll be without their top running back, Shamari Brooks, who tore his ACL in practice this week. A huge loss in this game last year. He had 29 carries for 2 touchdowns. Also of note, Corey Taylor, who shares the load at running back, came out of quarantine earlier this week. So this will be running back by committee for Tulsa today, Sean.
Yeah, that's a huge blow. Shamari Brooks hoping to become the all-time leading rusher in Tulsa history this season. On first down, the handoff to Keelan Stokes, talented wide receiver, who took it on an end around, and he got about 3. Zach Smith is the quarterback, returning starter for Tulsa. Over the middle and complete, very near a first down to Sam Crawford. Here's Todd McShay.
Hey, Sean, keep an eye on Zach today. Watch the way he flicks his wrist, like the way the ball explodes off his hand. That's what the NFL scouts are looking for. That's what he does so well. He's got to improve in terms of in the pocket, his accuracy and consistency. But the reason that NFL teams are talking about him as a day 3 pick is because he has such a big arm and such good arm talent.
Handed it off to Deneric Prince, and a nice run, playing in his first game for Tulsa. Came over from Texas A&M, where he had just 2 career carries. There is Zach Smith, 5th-year senior from Grandview, Texas. 2nd-year starter, had a nice first year. As a matter of fact, he was 18th in the country in passing yards per game last season. But if they had played last Saturday, he would not have been able to play. He was in quarantine. The running play stopped. It's Deneric Prince again, dropped by Trace Ford with help from Tyler Lacey.
You know, with Zach Smith, Todd was talking about how the ball comes out of his hand. I think the biggest thing he's working on this year is his pocket presence and movement, and not holding on to the ball too quickly, just getting the ball out of his hands faster than he did a year ago. This is a team that gave up 39 sacks a year ago, and that's not just the offensive line. A lot of times that sack is a result of a quarterback holding the ball too long.
Second down and 16. Cameron Murray ran off the field. Defensive lineman for Oklahoma State under his own power. Smith on target to the 41-yard line. Caught by Josh Johnson. And a tackle made by Tanner McAllister. They're expecting a breakout year on defense from McAllister. They have 10 starters back. It's a group that got much better as the season went along. Last year they held their last 6 opponents to under their scoring averages.
Keep an eye on this guy right here too. Calvin Bundage missed all of last year. A linebacker, a pass rush specialist. They are thrilled to have him back in the lineup.
Back from back surgery. Smith given a nice pocket, checks it down, well short of the first down is Juan Carlos Santana. Eamon Ogbongbemiga made the tackle. He's a 5th-year senior, one of the best linebackers in the country. And it'll be a punt situation for Tulsa with a new punter. Dylan Stoner back for the kick from Lachlan Wilson, redshirt freshman from Australia. Playing his first American football game. Played Australian rules football in his native land. Stoner fielded it inside the 10 and brought it back. He'll mark him out at the 14-yard line. So our first look at the Oklahoma State offense this season, and Todd, one of the best running backs in the country, Chuba Hubbard is back.
Watch 30 all day long. I mean, he's the best player on the field for both teams, and the reason is the contact balance and the acceleration. He's able to get through that first initial arm tackle, the attempt at least, and then the way he accelerates from 0 to 60 is better than anyone in the country that I've watched in this preseason. He's improved in terms of pass protection and catching the ball. I'm really looking forward to watching that today.
Had a huge game, particularly early in their win at Tulsa last year. They won 40-21. He gets the carry and gets 2. He had 3 touchdown runs in that game of 75, 30, and 33. And the 75 was at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, well, that's the one we just saw. That was the very first offensive play of the game. And if Tulsa's to have any chance, they can't allow those big explosive plays out of Hubbard or Wallace.
Spencer Sanders, returning starting quarterback. Redshirt sophomore from Denton, Texas. He was on target to Dylan Stoner. And they're short of the first down.
Little different style quarterback than Mike Gundy's had in the past.
More of a runner than a true thrower. Combination of both. Nice cut by Hubbard. One of his strengths, the ability to make people miss in the open field. And he got to the 30 for a first down.
I'm telling you, he's one of those guys, Sean, that you almost hold your breath every time he touches the ball, especially if he gets his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. Because as Todd documented, that acceleration, how quickly he can get the top end speed, is unlike anybody else in college football.
He reminds me a little bit of Jamal Charles and LaShawn McCoy. Like the ability to make that one cut and go.
They go out of the pistol here, and it's Hubbard again. Taken down after a short gain to the 33-yard line. And they're happy to have back Tylan Wallace. Missed the final 5 games of last season with a torn ACL, had surgery. They're happy he's playing without a knee brace. They took it off at the beginning of the month. Sanders throws on the run. It's caught for a first down by Logan Carter. They call their tight ends cowboy backs, and he's out to the 48-yard line with a 15-yard gain and a first down.
Nice job of faking the wide receiver screen to Wallace.
And now in the open field, it's L.D. Brown. Will be Chuba Hubbard's main backup this season. Then he runs for 16 and a first down.
Nice run. He really got a great block between Jelani Woods, that big converted quarterback tight end, with the key block on that play.
There's Brown again. Tough run. He got 4. Let's go back to the play that we're talking about.
Right there, it's blown dead.
Right.
Sanders is going the other way. Remember, they're not using the normal whistles. They're using the electric whistles. Perhaps some of the players didn't see it, and I think the penalty at the end was because Sanders flipped the ball to a player on the bench for Tulsa.
Now Sanders, dangerous runner, averaged 57 yards rushing per game last season. And he's to the 25-yard line, and it is a first down. The Cowboys on the move on their opening possession.
And that's why he's different. They want to utilize his ability to run, particularly in the red zone.
Chuba Hubbard back in the game.
With a defense so focused on Chuba Hubbard and so concerned with stopping him, it really opens things up for the quarterback to run, either whether it's by design or when the play breaks down.
Play fake by Sanders. His receiver stumbled coming out of the cut. It's Tylan Wallace. Was averaging 113 yards receiving per game last year when he got hurt, among the leaders in the country.
Sanders a little gimpy at the end of that play. Remember, he missed the last 3 games last year with a thumb injury. Moving around a little gingerly at the end of that play, the incomplete pass.
Illegal substitution, the call against Tulsa. So they move the ball to the 18. 3 yards to go for another first down. Hubbard's. Good tackle by Darren Ray, redshirt sophomore. Philip Montgomery says he has a chance to be the best safety they've ever had at Tulsa when he's finished, out of Brenham, Texas. Eight minutes gone by, first quarter. Spencer Sanders slides down, takes the loss. Tucked under a hit from Robert Revolves, and it looks like Sanders might still be less than 100% after this play a couple of plays ago.
Good coverage down the field. He wanted to throw the ball quick. It wasn't there. Got forced out of the pocket and then kind of went down to protect himself, but didn't get down very quick and still took a shot to the back.
15th play of the drive. Methodical, workmanlike effort here by the Cowboys offense. LD Brown inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Another tackle for the safety, Darren Ray.
That's the bread and butter play of this Oklahoma State offense. Inside zone, a good push by that offensive line. You got to get guys to the second level of the defensive linebackers, and they did on that play.
And the new offensive coordinator, Casey Dunn, says it's always been his dream to call plays, and he's calling them very nicely on his first drive ever as a play caller. LD Brown stuffed that time by Grant Sawyer.
And they were going so fast. Their left tackle, who I think is going to be a second-round draft pick, Tevin Jenkins, had to check out because he was exhausted. They ran, what, 15, 16 plays, and they were going so quickly. Everyone was so tired. And we talked to them. The coordinator, the head coach, Mike Gundy, said they wanted to run turbo, play faster than they did a year ago. They did it. It was a long drive.
27-yard field goal try. And their new field goal kicker, Alex Hale. And his first effort is good. Former walk-on. He's from Australia. Sanders, little gimpy coming off the field. He engineered an opening 3-point drive for Oklahoma State. Back in Stillwater on a beautiful day, expected to get up into the low to mid 80s here in north central Oklahoma. Skycam brought to you by AT&T 5G.
I think the fact that it is a relatively cool day is huge, because when these two teams played last year, it was a steamy day in Tulsa, and both coaches have serious concerns about the conditioning level of their football teams because of the way the offseason and the preseason camp has gone.
Particularly Tulsa, they've had more stops and starts due to COVID-19 than have the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Jake McClure's kickoff down to Deneric Prince.
He's dynamic.
Transfer from Houston. Instant difference maker for Miami. Wilkerson a short gain. After the play fake, Zach Smith in trouble, and he did well to get about 3 on what will be the last play of this first quarter.
And that was a heads-up play, because that was an RPO quick throw. It wasn't there, and he did the best he could to get something positive out of the play.
3-0 Oklahoma. Oklahoma State. The season is underway for the Cowboys and the Golden Hurricane in Stillwater. Back in Stillwater, Tulsa promoting heavily the fact that it had the second most returning rushing yards career in the country behind only Clemson. Big part of that, Shamari Brooks, 2,700 career yards. Corey Taylor, 1,490. Neither one of them has played today. Brooks out for the year with a torn ACL earlier this week. Taylor coming out of quarantine. He looks antsy on that sideline, but he hasn't touched the ball yet.
Very different runners. Taylor a much heavier runner, but I love Brooks, and he was great against Oklahoma State last year.
Those are huge losses. Zach Smith on 3rd and long. Going into single coverage for Josh Stewart. Jarek Bernard Converse had the coverage.
Very solid defensive start for Oklahoma State. That was just zero coverage, all press man-to-man, nowhere to go with the football for Zach Smith. Great coverage downfield, and now 0 for 4 on 3rd down. Tulsa is, and again, this Oklahoma State team with championship aspirations, it has to do with their exciting, dynamic offense, but also a much improved defense.
Seen in a lot of these first games, the defenses seem to have the advantage. Lachlan Wilson, they came after him that time. Dylan Stoner, fair catch just beyond the 35-yard line.
I think Oklahoma State has to try to stretch this defense. Even with the backup quarterback, they have to attack downfield. That's their MO. That's how they like to play football. We've yet to see a ball travel down the field here in the ball game.
Still with the backup quarterback, Ethan Bullock. Spencer Sanders limped to the locker room a moment ago. That pass is high near sideline for Braden Johnson. Coach Dunn tells us is perhaps the fastest man on the team, maybe even faster than Chuba Hubbard. Caleb Evans, the cornerback, had the coverage.
That time Tulsa double covered Stoner, and they double covered Wallace.
Out of the pistol, L.D. Brown out to the 44-yard line. They'll need 2 more.
Tulsa's basically the poor man's Legion of Boom, too. I mean, they've got 6'3", 6'4", all across the board in terms of their defensive backs, but they are not going to let Wallace get vertical, and that's exactly what Oklahoma State wants to do. He is so good, even though he's a 4.55 40-time guy. He knows how to get down the field and track it vertically, but they're not going to let it happen because of the double teams that they're giving with these long defensive backs.
Wallace doesn't have a catch yet. Play fake on 3rd down and 2. Bullock not very mobile, and it's the blitzing Zaven Collins, the star of that defense, who dropped him for a sack, and it'll force 4th down.
Watch this. He just times it perfectly. He waits 1 beat and then goes right between the guard and the tackle, and they were late in reacting. That's good speed, but more than anything, just the timing of the blitz, waiting that half a beat before he got to the backfield.
He was a free safety and quarterback in high school, weighed 225 pounds. They said when they recruited him, they didn't know where he'd play, but now he's 6'4", 260, and he can really move. Good punt, and a fair catch made by Keelan Stokes off the boot from Tom Hutton. Derek Prince, new arrival at Tulsa from Texas A&M, is the running back. Low throw. Sam Crawford managed to catch it, but no opportunity for run after the catch because of the inaccurate throw.
Again, Keelan Stokes, the go-to guy, was a 1,000-yard receiver a year ago, had 7 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown against Oklahoma State in the ballgame last year. Has yet to get on track.
You wonder, because of the lack of a running threat, if he's seeing even more attention from this defense than he would have. Smith hasn't been particularly accurate. Here's Prince turning the corner, and it's a 1st down to midfield. And they were back at 1st down and 20, and they managed to move those chains. Another tackle by Tanner McAllister.
Yeah, they really got the edge sealed. Jaden Muskrat, the left tackle, and James Palmer, the tight end, with a great job blocking on the edge on that play.
Yeah, Trey Sterling makes the tackle there on Deneric Prince. It was a 40-21 win for Oklahoma State, their 7th in a row in this rivalry. Prince again. Dropped for a loss by Israel Antwine, part of a deep defensive line.
Yeah, Tulsa tried to go with a quick count that time. They tried to get up, get lined up, and run away from the strength of their formation, but Oklahoma State was not fooled. They were in position, ready to make the play for no gain on second down.
Philip Montgomery, the head coach, is the play caller. Offensive coordinator at Baylor prior to coming to Tulsa. TK Wilkerson lowers his head. They just can't get anything going of substance in the run game. Colby Harville-Peel, outstanding safety up there at the line to stop that play.
I thought they might try to throw on that third down with the idea of going for it on fourth down, but they tried to slip the run play, and I think they lost yardage on that play. Great penetration by the Oklahoma State defense. Now you almost have to throw it on this play because it's 4th and about 2.
Again, no Shamari Brooks, one of the leading rushers in school history. Certainly would have been a factor, you'd think, on that 3rd and 1. So far, no Corey Taylor. He would have been their second rusher.
Zero coverage look coming after him.
They go to the ground, and Wilkerson powers ahead for the first down. Redshirt sophomore just outside of Tulsa. Malcolm Rodriguez made the tackle.
Watch the movement here is just going to hold defenders enough to get the run in there. The movement freezes a couple defenders just enough, and then he runs through the tackle of Malcolm Rodriguez.
Young, inexperienced offensive line. Wilkerson again, tackled by Rodriguez again. The veteran of the offensive line is Chris Paul, the right tackle, making his 21st career start. Nobody else other than the center Wheeler, who started 12 times, has double-digit starts. In the flat, Wilkerson, great tackle by Rodriguez, the former wrestler, and Jim Knowles said that's why he's such a great tackler. He knows how to get people on the ground from his wrestling background. 3rd down and 1. They line up to go quickly. Smith keeps, and like the last 3rd and 1, it's a 1-yard loss. Antwine with penetration, and Rodriguez, as he is on almost every play, in on the play.
Well, yeah, it was Rodriguez again. That time they ran a little stunt, so they had the back taken. The quarterback kept on his own read, but Rodriguez was working outside and was right there to wrap him up. Another 4th down situation. Looks like they may kick this one. Try to get even in the game. Again, last year at this time they were down 17.
Montgomery's going for it. You like this on 4th and 2?
Well, I do like it. I think it's aggressive. They made their last 4th down.
Same play they converted on a moment ago. Don't know if Wilkerson got the ball there. Might be Corey Taylor, 24. It is, with his first start.
And he's the heavy runner. He's 215 pounds, just came off the quarantine. But he was kind of the other type of runner with Shamari Brooks over the last few years. Gets those shoulders north and south. Does the ball get to the line?
Get there.
Nope, I think his knee was down before the ball reached the line.
And they come up inches short. Shamari Brooks, boy, does he wish he was out there for that play. Still 3-0. Oklahoma State midway through the 2nd quarter. Yeah, a little healthy breakfast there at Eskimo Joe's. Just a short walk from Boone Pickens Stadium. They opened early this morning to serve those breakfast cheese fries. What a great place. Landmark since the mid-70s. Stan Clark, the proprietor. We had dinner there a couple of nights ago. It was delicious. And we're happy to be cheering for Oklahoma State football, watching the game there today. Ethan Bullock, backup quarterback, who came in for the injured Spencer Sanders. And Todd, I don't think that play was put in the playbook for him.
Well, it was a zone read, thinking the defense would go with Chuba Hubbard, but you can't take that to the sideline. You just got to get up the field and get whatever yardage you can get. The longer he strung it out, the worse it got for him.
Loss on the play. Allie Green, outstanding cornerback, made the tackle. Joseph Gillespie says that he thinks not only are these the best cornerbacks in the American Conference, they might be the best pair in the country. That's saying a lot, but they're very good. Bullock throws, and a nice tackle landed. Wolf got drilled by Caleb Evans, one of those cornerbacks right on cue.
And as Todd mentioned earlier, they are big. I mean, the corners are big and long. The safeties, they play with 3 safeties and 2 corners. And Tylan Wallace on the sideline the last couple possessions.
On 3rd down and 7, play fake by Bullock and an errant pass. Nowhere near Brennan Presley. And Todd, it goes back to our conversation yesterday with Mike Gundy. Chuba Hubbard said, I came back to win a Big 12 championship and a national championship. We asked Mike Gundy, is your team that good? He said, well, I think it could be, but the key players have to stay healthy.
Right.
And it's all the guys Todd McShay just mentioned: Sanders, Hubbard, Wallace.
Well, when they missed Wallace the last 5 games, they missed Sanders the last 3 games, and their offensive production went way down.
Some concerns for the 11th ranked Cowboys, playing without their starting quarterback right now. Tom Hutton, the punter, fair catch, muffed, and I believe the ball went out of bounds. Keelan Stokes couldn't handle the punt. It will be Tulsa ball at the 37-yard line. Corey Taylor is in there at running back now. Secondly returning leading rusher. They won't have Brooks this year. Deep throw by Smith. On target to Keelan Stokes. And finally a big gainer as Tanner McAllister had the coverage and made the tackle. It'll go all the way to the 15-yard line.
Nice little wheel route. That's what McAllister got fooled on the out cut. And then Keelan was able to get outside.
40-yard gain. Back to the ground with Taylor, and he's dropped for a loss. Damon Akbambamiga.
Watch McAllister bite on the out fake, and there's the separation. They've had no separation the entire first half until that play. Zach Smith found it. It was a perfect call by Philip Montgomery, and they get the big chunk play out of the passing game.
Keelan Stokes, senior from Manville, Texas. His brother Kevin Lucas, one of the all-time great receivers at Tulsa. They fake to Taylor. He stayed in the block. To the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Josh Johnson gives Tulsa the lead.
This is an NFL throw right here. I mean, this is good coverage. I think it was Trey Sterling in coverage. And watch where Zach Smith puts this football for his receiver, Josh Johnson. I mean, he throws a perfect throw that only his guy could make a play on.
A minute 38 to go in the half. It's Tulsa, 22-point underdog, with a 6-3 lead, with the extra point to come off the foot of the true freshman Tyler Tipton, kicking in his first collegiate game out of Little Elm, Texas, small town in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And his kick is good. 7-3 Tulsa leading Oklahoma State. Tulsa hasn't won here since 1951. They've lost 21 in a row in Stillwater.
Well, they had over 300 yards rushing last year.
Down to the field we go. Here's Chris.
Coach, what can you tell us about the status of Spencer Sanders?
What?
What can you tell us about the status of Spencer Sanders? What can you tell us about the status of Spencer Sanders?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't been in there. They took him in to look at him and obviously didn't come back out. We'll find out when I get inside.
Tylan Wallace has been out there, but without a catch. What will he be able to do in the second half?
Well, we got to get the ball to him. We got to get in a little bit of rhythm offensively.
Thank you, Coach.
That coaching staff, particularly on offense, with a lot of work to do during this 20 minutes. At the half, Tulsa 7, Oklahoma State 3. Now we'll send you back to the studio. Here's the Lexus halftime report. And this is the Big 12 on ESPN. Rough Saturday a week ago for the Big 12, and this one not starting out so well either. Oklahoma State down by 7 to Tulsa as we get ready for the start of the second half. Here's today's More Driven Moment, brought to you by Goodyear.
Well, Tulsa has done a great job of taking those 2 dynamic playmakers out of the game in the first half. Tylan Wallace drawing a lot of double coverage. They haven't been able to get him a catch at all. They've had to throw to the other side. And then Chuba Hubbard, who had 256 yards and 3 touchdowns against Tulsa a year ago. Nowhere to run. No big plays. Only 32 yards rushing. So Tulsa has done what they needed to do. Eliminate the big plays and stop Chuba Hubbard.
So the obvious question, how does Oklahoma State get the ball to Wallace and get Hubbard more productive?
Well, with Wallace, I think they have to see whenever they get single coverage opportunities, they got to take some shots. Because remember, last year, he had the 90-yard touchdown catch. He also drew 4 defensive pass interference penalties when they tried to throw him the football. They got to give him some opportunities, and they've got to be better on first down. They only had one play that was over 4 yards in that whole first half on first down. Have to be more productive.
Zach Long kicked off. Braden Johnson, one of the fastest men on the team, to the 26-yard line. Here's Chris Budden on the field.
Yeah, Philip Montgomery really pleased with his team's energy. I listened to Zach Smith coming out of the tunnel. He was hyped with his team, telling him, we got 30 minutes, guys. They were at this point last year against Tulsa, the Oklahoma State. Corey Taylor is available for the entire second half, and then Ethan Bullock will be coming out for Oklahoma State today.
Well, this could be huge for a coach who is likely fighting to save his job, Philip Montgomery. They had some heartbreaking losses last year. Missed a 29-yard field goal at the buzzer that would have beat a very good Memphis team. Blew a 30-9 lead against SMU. Lost in 3 overtimes. Ethan Bullock still the quarterback. They go right after Wallace. Battle for the ball with Allie Green. There is a flag down on that play as well. And they rule it Oklahoma State football on a catch. Let's check out the flag.
That's what you have to do. That's what happened last year. The first 3 times they tried to throw downfield to him against bump and run, he drew defensive pass interference. That's exactly what happened here. But you see his strength, and he likes contact. He's going to go up and fight for the football regardless. But give him a chance. When there's not double coverage, you have to give him a chance.
Number 12, that penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
He's 6 foot 190, but I honestly don't know that there's a more physical receiver in college football. Usually it's a 6'3", 220-pound guy. This guy is so good contested catches and after the catch. I love that.
Here's Chuba Hubbard. Managed to avoid a loss. Got to the line of scrimmage before he got dragged down by Tyrus Stevenson, the man they call Big Cat, who splits time in the middle of that defensive front with Jackson Player. Far cry from last year when he ran all over the field in Tulsa in the first half. Ethan Bullock, the backup quarterback, only arrived in the spring out of junior college, and he runs out of bounds with a 3-yard loss, chased out by the terrific linebacker Zaven Collins.
Zaven Collins has been outstanding today. Talk to us about wanting to get in the backfield more, be utilized on blitzes more. They are really taking advantage of his versatility.
Goes as a sack, the 5th of the day for Tulsa. They switched to the 3-3-5 defense. This is their 3rd season in it. They've been improving each year. It's a screen going nowhere. Except in reverse. Zaven Collins ripped down Chuba Hubbard. 8-yard loss.
Zaven Collins just read that perfectly. Take a look at him right here. He's got eyes on Chuba Hubbard. It's a 3-man rush. They're dropping 8. He's very smart. He gets past the block of the wide receiver and right into the backfield, and another negative yardage play created by this Tulsa defense.
Such a good feeling. I mean, he was stalking him the whole time. The second the ball came out, you could see his eyes. He was so excited to go make that tackle.
Tom Hutton, the punter. End over end, fair catch signaled by Keelan Stokes, who muffed one in the first half. Fielded that one cleanly. The only touchdown in the first half, Smith to Josh Johnson, the Iowa State transfer, for 16 yards after the big gainer to Keelan Stokes. Then Eric Prince, his first game for Tulsa, ripped down by Malcolm Rodriguez, a gain of 3.
You know, everything we read that Philip Montgomery said when he talked about the running backs, he said it's the most depth we've ever had in the running back room. Little did he know it was going to have to come into play so dramatically in game 1. You know, you're playing well, you're doing a lot of good things, you're playing hard, but you're self-destructing with some of those kind of penalties. And you just add that pressure on you.
Prince carried to the 31-yard line. Not sure why the officials have stopped the game.
I think one of the officials got knocked down on the sideline. I think he either tripped or got bumped and fell. It wasn't near the action of the play, but I think that's why they had to stop. I know how dangerous that headlines position is.
Yes. You were the headline judge when we officiated the Georgia spring football game a year and a half ago. So 3rd down and 2.
There's their first opportunity. 0 for 7 in the first half.
The same play, really, that they've run on short yardage, and they're not fooling anybody. Deneric Prince stopped short. They bring that man in motion, and then they hand it off straight ahead, and it hasn't worked.
And you can't dance. You can't dance on a play like that. That has to hit quickly. Credit Oklahoma State with getting penetration into the backfield and around the feet of Prince. But as soon as you start dancing on that inside give like that, you got no shot.
Lachlan Wilson on the punt.
Here's the other thing. If they wouldn't have gotten that penalty and still had 4th and short, I think there's going to be a fake punt before this game's over because both offenses are struggling. Special teams play could be huge.
40-yard punt, fair catch by Stoner. 7-3 Tulsa. 5:57 in the 3rd. Much money courtesy of Allstate today. Low scoring game at 7-3 Tulsa. 3rd quarter. Ethan Bullock, backup quarterback, deep down the field into double coverage and incomplete.
Great play by Christian Williams. That's a good throw that Bullock made. Cover 2, the middle of the field is where you want to attack, but the underneath coverage of Christian Williams, watch him find the football and then get up and knock it away. If he would have not turned to find the football and just played the receiver's eyes, he would not have made that play more than likely. Excellent play by Williams.
On the delay. L.D. Brown for 2. 3rd down and 8. Neither team good on 3rd down. They're 3 for 10. Bullock given time. Checks it down short. That should be a 1st down for Landon Wolf. But they give him forward progress, and they do, with the yard to spare past the marker before Christian Williams made the tackle.
A couple nice throws in this possession by Bullock. The one down the middle that was incomplete was a good throw. Nice job staying in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, hitting the crossing receiver for the 1st down.
Good time given to him by this offensive line. And finally a hole for the running game, and L.D. Brown almost took it all the way. He got chopped down by Tyon Davis, or that was a touchdown.
Well, it's a stretch play. He's going to start this way, but watch him cut it back inside. When he sees a crease, that's what you want that back to do. Picks up a nice block by Logan Carter, the tight end, number 87 on the backside. And that play can break in a lot of different spots. Good read by L.D. Brown off the block of his backside tight end.
They're high on Brown as Chuba Hubbard's backup. Here's Chris Budden.
Well, Ethan Bullock's been favoring that throwing shoulder. He was throwing and grimacing on the sidelines before this possession. After each throw, you can see him rolling that right shoulder.
Out of Winter Park, Florida. He's throwing the ball well on this possession. Finds Tylan Wallace for another 1st down, and finally a little rhythm for the Cowboys, a gain of 11.
Well, when you get off coverage, you definitely got to give them a shot. That's easy pitch and catch. Little hitch route versus off coverage. Has not been a lot of off coverage on Wallace today.
Chuba Hubbard back in the game. Bullock, they look confused, and he just throws it away.
Here's what happened. Bullock saw the grabbing by the cornerback, Ali Green. So he just threw it in that direction, thinking he could draw the pass interference. Watch the grab. The problem is Wallace is going to go out of bounds. So once he's out of bounds, none of that grabbing matters anymore. And Bullock threw the football, and that's why there's no flag.
Late in the 3rd quarter now. Again, we'll keep an eye on signs that conditioning might be a factor. Both coaches worried about that. 78 degrees. Not particularly warm for this time of the year in Stillwater, and not very humid either. Bullock throws into traffic and intercepted by Ali Green, who stepped in front of Tylan Wallace.
I'll tell you, these corners have been up for the challenge today. They have been wanting to fight and challenge, and that time they come away with the pick.
I said it earlier. It's kind of like the Legion of Boom, right? 6'3" corners like Ali Green. He's been pressing all day long. He's been getting physical on 2 all day long. And one of of the best wide receivers in the country has not responded in Tylan Wallace, and you saw it right there. Like completely unable to get off the press, and Green just makes a great play for the interception and really turns the whole game around.
First career interception for Allie Green. That's hard to believe. Little juggle on the catch by Crawford on the screen. He managed to snatch it back in and get about 5.
Well, here's the coverage right here. It's one-on-one. Now what you're going to see is against press coverage, you got to throw this ball to the outside. You can't throw it to the inside. The receiver's outside. The ball has to be outside.
Zach Smith play fake on his back foot, and coming back to the ball. There's a flag down. Keelan Stokes trying to make the catch. Didn't see a signal about whether it's a catch or not. The Cowboys sideline right there thought it hit the ground. Calvin Bundage delivered a hit on the quarterback.
Well, Rodarius Williams thinks it was offensive pass interference. He thought Stokes pushed off to come back to the football.
And do we have a clue by the missing hat from the field judge?
Prior to the
Jim
pass,
Biddle.
holding, defense, number 0. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Apparently it was a catch by Keelan Stokes.
Yeah, they called a hold. Oh, Stokes is out of bounds, so he was out. That's interesting because there was a similar play on the other side of the ball with Tylan Wallace where there was out of bounds and holding.
That's why the hat was off.
Yeah.
And is this a catch? Looks like it.
He obviously came back in bounds, established himself, and was able to catch the football.
And they're going to run a reverse, and it's promising. Some room on the near side, but Stokes couldn't turn the corner. That was well played by Tanner McAllister, or that might have gone a long way.
Yeah, really well played. Really well played. They got the movement that they wanted. They got the primary movement of the defense, but McAllister read it quickly. And again, we've seen him make good open field tackles in space today.
Jim Knowles, the defense coordinator, said we expect a breakout year from McAllister. He has great feet. Moved him to nickel this year from cornerback, and he's lived up to that praise and that prediction from Jim Knowles. Now in his 3rd year as the defensive coordinator. He expects a big step forward now that most people in the program know his schemes. Smith hoping for the receiver to come back to the ball. Juan Carlos Santana could not. Again, Tanner McAllister had the coverage. This possession set up by the interception by Allie Green. They think he's one of the best corners in the country. Senior who's played a lot. This is his 35th career game, his 18th start, but his first career interception. What a great time to get it. Can they convert on 3rd down?
That's been the question of the day for him, for sure.
Can you win a game by not converting a 3rd down and by being penalized 9 times with more than a quarter to go? They're trying to do it. They blitz him, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for Cannon Montgomery, the son of head coach Philip Montgomery. And if that had been completed, he had nobody behind him.
That's right. That was 0 coverage, which means there's no deep safety. They were pressuring. They were coming after Zach Smith. He read it. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. Montgomery, who is also the holder, so you know he has pretty reliable hands. Not able to come down with that one, but you're right. He might have taken that one to the end zone.
One of those 5 players who just came out of quarantine, Cannon Montgomery. He's a roommate of Zach Smith and Zaven Collins. Bryson Powers and Seth Boomer, the backup quarterback, the others. They come after Lachlan Wilson. And the fair catch made by Dylan Stoner at the 14-yard line. New quarterback now. Here's quarterback number 3. Bullock off to the sideline. It's Shane Illingworth. True freshman from Norco, California. Going deep and up for grabs. Some bumping, and Wallace wins that battle with Allie Green. So that's starting to become a regular one-on-one matchup.
When you get single coverage, he's too good to not give him chances. Yes, Allie Green had the interception, got the better of it the last time. But you got to keep giving number 2 chances because he's your most dynamic playmaker along with Chuba Hubbard, not only on this team, not only in this league, but in the country. You got to give him chances to make plays for you.
That one good for 29. They go out of the pistol. Illingworth gave it to Chuba Hubbard. He's to midfield with a pickup of 7.
He loves contact. He's not going to shy away. His strength and his physicality makes him have great ability to catch the ball in traffic and make contested catches. We saw the replay earlier of breaking tackles, but that strength also comes into play in making contested catches.
Hubbard, bottled up all day, slides forward and has the first down with a yard to spare.
That's what Wallace does best. I mean, yeah, he's tough after the catch. We talked about under 200 pounds, but he loves the physicality of this game, and that's why he's so successful.
Oklahoma State down 7-3 late in the third quarter with their third quarterback, the true freshman Illingworth, in the game. He checks it down to Jelani Woods. And they're on the move here with this highly touted prospect who arrived early, but then again, they usually come early to participate in spring practice. Obviously with COVID, spring practice disjointed at best. He's throwing it for single coverage. Wallace was out of bounds, came back in, makes the catch, and is down at the 3-yard line. And what a beautiful throw by Shane Illingworth, 6'5", 220, freshman out of Norco High School in Norco, California.
See, they're forcing him out of bounds. He's not running out of bounds on his own. Therefore, he can come back in and reestablish and be able to catch the football. See, he's forced out of bounds. He's pushed out of bounds by Allie Green, who then stumbles, so he can come back in and establish himself and catch the football.
There's no foul on the play because the receiver was forced out of bounds. It's 1st and goal.
Well, how about this? We talked to Casey Dunn about Shane Illingworth, who he wasn't expecting to play today unless it was a blowout, likely in their favor. He said he has a big arm, similar to some of the terrific throwers we've had here in the past. Fans clearly well aware of
That's the end of the third quarter.
His background. Was 8 cheered when he ran onto the field. 4-star prospect by ESPN. And he has Oklahoma State poised to score its first touchdown and take the lead. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by Geico. The true freshman Shane Illingworth, 3 for 3 for 73 yards. That's more passing yards combined than the starters Sanders and Bullock combined. And it's Chuba Hubbard into the end zone for the first Oklahoma State touchdown of the season and their first lead since they fell behind 7-3.
Just straight ahead. He shows his power. He got his acceleration and able to get that ball into the end zone. He has the ability to avoid direct hits, to make some people miss in small spaces. And Oklahoma State with a touchdown.
Nice drive. As you say, they got Tylan Wallace involved. He had catches of 29 and 36 on that drive. Did most of the hard work.
Yeah, when Illingworth got the nod that he was going in, he went up and had a conversation with Wallace, and they talked for about 2 minutes. It was the most engaged I've seen Wallace on the sidelines this game.
It was as if the team and this crowd believed in him. The minute he ran onto the field. Mentioned a highly touted prospect. 3 years of varsity football in California, threw for over 6,400 yards. Last year as a senior high school, 40 touchdown passes for Illingworth, 2 interceptions. And grew up in California, but had been to Oklahoma many times, has relatives in several communities in the state of Oklahoma.
Key for Tulsa might be to just be really good on 1st and 2nd down and just avoid 3rd down altogether.
That would be ideal for them. Nowhere to go for TK Wilkerson. Devin Harper on the corner. They thought they came away with the ball. The play had been blown dead. Colby Harville Peel running away with the football.
Rolling on the field as the runner's forward progress was stopped prior to losing possession. 2nd down.
I don't know how they could even ever go back and review these. If you can't hear the whistle, you can't know when it was blown dead. But I think that's the right call.
Is there a whistle?
Yeah, it's been hard to hear all day.
I haven't heard a whistle all day.
Great timing.
And a beautiful throw by Smith. Lobbed it in there for Josh Johnson. And he's to the Oklahoma State 38. It's almost as if this offense said, well, okay, we can't rope a dope all day. Now that we're behind, we have to do something.
Right.
On 1st and 20, a screen.
Well set up.
Deneric Prince, nice footwork. Did not stay in bounds for that extra 4 or 5, but a good gainer to get that penalty yardage back.
I think Billy Napier, the coach at Louisiana, one of the rising stars in college football.
No question. Here's Prince again. Mr. Ride not long ago from Texas A&M. How unlikely was he to play today? It would be a factor. He had 2 career carries at Texas A&M. Played in 1 game there in 2018. They're without Shamari Brooks, the 5th all-time leading rusher at Tulsa. Out for the year with a torn ACL, suffered earlier this week in practice. Corey Taylor just out of the quarantine. Their number 2 has played sparingly. High snap, big hole, and a big face mask. And Prince fights his way through it all the way to the 8-yard line. Devin Harper ripped him around, and they'll tack more onto the end of that play.
Really nice blocking on the left side. Tyler Smith, the left tackle, with a big block. The tight end, James Palmer, with a block. Huge hole.
Face mask.
And there's the personal foul penalty.
16. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
1st and goal, Tulsa. Impressive drive. They've moved 71 yards. They need 4 more to reclaim the lead. It's Corey Taylor, the 5th-year senior from Tulsa, who is supposed to be their number 2 back, but coming out of quarantine. Limited action today.
Showed a little power there. I mean, that's what he's known for. More of the power back when he used to run in tandem with Shamari Brooks.
He's a touchdown scorer. Taylor scored 6 times last year. You saw Deneric Prince. He got him down here. He's rushed for 30 yards on this drive. TK Wilkerson, the running back now. They fake it to him. Swing pass. Stokes broke free for a moment, but couldn't get away completely from Rodarius Williams, who stopped him at the 3. Short yardage continues to be a nightmare for Tulsa.
Well, there was a little different wrinkle on that same action. That was the motion, man. They faked to the back, but another great open field tackle for an Oklahoma State defender, this time Rodarius Williams. And yet again, 3rd down, 3rd and goal. Critical play here for Tulsa.
It'll be ideal time to convert their first 3rd down today. 0 for 10. All this late substituting puts Tulsa up against the play clock again. This is a key play call for him. Zach Smith, good fake, has some options. All kinds of people open.
Wow, 2 guys wide open.
You take your pick. It's Deneric Prince.
There's a flag down, though. This looks like it's going to be an illegal motion penalty, and the play never even
Prior to the
counted.
snap. False start.
Yep.
Offense on the left guard. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Just self-destructive penalties. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. I mean, it happened to him last year in this game, and it's happening again. You have 3rd and goal inside the 5. You have the perfect play called, an easy touchdown, and now you back it up 3rd and 8. 3rd and goal from the 8.
11 penalties for 86 yards. That one a killer, especially if they don't score a touchdown on 3rd and goal here from the 8. Smith under pressure. Stepped away from it. Can't find anybody. And throws to the back line of the end zone. Broken up by Tanner McAllister.
Well, it's good pressure, first of all, by Oklahoma State. Watch the pressure, and Zach Smith does a nice job not getting sacked. keeping the play alive, trying to buy time, extend the play. The pressure from Rodriguez forced the throw, and then McAllister with the deflection. And you got to come away with points here. You've got to come away with a tie here, and avoiding the sack was huge for them.
Lots of pressure on this true freshman right out of high school in Little Elm, Texas. Tyler Tipton. And he hooked it. Wide left. From 26 yards.
You got a 4-year starter snapper. You've got a veteran holder in Cannon Montgomery and a first-time kicker. Snap was good, hold was good, kick was not good.
Oh, and a nightmare. And flashbacks to last year when they missed a 29-yarder with 2 seconds to go that would have defeated Memphis. They lost 42-41. They have done everything you can do to get beat on a day when you've done so many things well. The clock management issues, substitution problems, lack of conversions on third down, and most of all the penalties. 11 of them after 17 a year ago.
I think if you're Oklahoma State, you can't afford to get complacent and conservative here. I mean, you've got the lead, you've got some momentum from the missed field goal. You got a young quarterback that's feeling pretty good about himself. Stay aggressive. You know, you can't have a 3-and-out here and give the ball right back to Tulsa.
You also wonder if Chuba Hubbard might be due to pop one against a defense that has to be tired.
And we've seen signs of that, particularly in that defensive secondary, of some fatigue.
It has to be so disheartening to this defense that played so valiantly by what they've watched from the offense. They're ready for Hubbard. They drop him back at the 20-yard line. It's Grant Sawyer again, who's made a couple of big tackles for a loss.
Tulsa has done a really nice job of pressing the line of scrimmage. When the ball's been handed to Chuba Hubbard, they know we can't let him get going. We can't let him get going north and south on us and get that acceleration. They've done a great job of pressing the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 10. And it is Hubbard again. And he has the first down, and he almost broke it. Got taken down at the 40. The ball's out, but he was already ruled down. So on 3rd down and 10, he gets 20.
A couple missed tackles, a couple nice cuts in the hole by Chuba Hubbard, and a big 3rd down conversion on 3rd and long.
Play fake. Shane Illingworth for Wallace. All kinds of contact and flags flying from every direction.
See, this is what happened last year. When they played last year, 3 times in the first
Pass
half.
interference. Defense, number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
3 times in the first half, they tried to throw the ball down the field to Tylan Wallace, and he drew defensive pass interference penalties every time. Then he got a 90-yard touchdown in the 3rd quarter. If they're going to play like that, you got to throw the ball up and give him a chance. He's either going to come down with the football or draw a penalty the majority of the time. But when you still give him a shot, I mean, he can make some things happen.
Shane Illingworth did terrific off the bench as their 3rd quarterback. A quick hitter there to Dylan Stoner, and back they go to Chuba Hubbard. He has a streak of 100-yard games, 11 in a row. It's on the line right now. He's getting close to 100 here with this late push. Picked up a first down with that carry. He ran for 12 100-yard games last year.
I haven't called Zaven Collins' name for a while. He's a guy who needs to step up and make a couple plays at this point for Tulsa's defense.
Cowboys content to milk the clock now, down to 6 minutes to go. Leading by 3 against this valiant Tulsa team. They bring pressure off the corner. And Hubbard taken down by Robert Revolves.
Robert Revolves timed that pressure really well. I mean, he came on the outside, timed it perfectly, and was able to chase the play down from the back. I just mentioned Zaven Collins. I don't even see him on the field right now. The key leader, the key player of this Tulsa defense.
Leading returning tackler, his second team All-American Conference last year. Out of the pistol. Illingworth, lots of time. Some tired men in white chasing after him, and he throws it away. Pursued to the near sideline by the safety, Darren Ray.
Well, they call this a little play-action cross-country route, and really watch Wallace. He has him. He can throw him the football right there. He just didn't feel comfortable. There was a linebacker underneath, but that's a lot of space for number 2. Get him the football there. He might even score with it.
2 for 2 on third down on this drive. They need 6 here. And again, they milk the clock. Although the game clock is not running. Just trying to get lined up properly. LV Brown in trouble behind the line of scrimmage and dumped.
Is that your guy again?
Brett Sawyer. 7 tackles all of last year. 18 career tackles in 24 games prior to today. And there's another big tackle for a loss.
Take a look at him. And just getting to the outside and crossing the line of scrimmage. Reading the play, getting into the backfield, and making a sure tackle. He's had an outstanding football game.
So they do force a field goal try. It'll be a 40-yarder from Alex Hale. Walk on from Australia. There's plenty of leg, and that one is good. To put them up by 6. They leave the door open for Tulsa with 4:27 to go. And it's Oklahoma State. Game surprisingly close to many, leading this gritty Tulsa bunch 13-7, just under 4.5 to go. Zach Smith, can he lead him back?
He's got to find a way to get a couple chunk plays. They just have not, his numbers are okay from a completion percentage, 17 of 25, but only 167 yards. So they just have not been able to get any big plays. This Oklahoma State defense has played excellent in terms of their coverage, particularly on Keelan Stokes, their go-to receiver.
They'll go in eventually. We don't know if it's next week or when. They're going to play. They'll be ranked. Big hole. Deneric Prince gets 8 on the first play. And you have to think, Todd, they need a touchdown on this drive. They have 1 timeout left.
Yeah.
And it's go for it on 4th down. Playing without Shamari Brooks. The senior tore his ACL in practice earlier this week. 5th all-time leading rusher at Tulsa with 2,700 career rushing yards.
Another movement penalty. I think they got Keelan Stokes for leaving early on this one. Again, 2nd and short. You're ahead of the chains.
Offense,
now you're behind the chains.
5-yard penalty.
Actually, it was inside. I thought Stokes moved early too, but it was inside. But again, those are the penalties that just continue to add up. 13 penalties on Tulsa. Again, Zach Smith in the situation, 2nd and long. You got to think about just getting part of this yardage back. If you can get half of it, that would be ideal. Got to manage. You got to manage the situation right now and give yourself a chance on 3rd or 4th down.
5 wide. They set up a screen, and they were not fooled on that Oklahoma State defense. Juan Carlos Santana taken down by Christian Holmes.
Read so quickly. Just really read quickly. I think you're in the same situation, because I agree with you, Sean. If you punt the football here, you're not going to get it back.
Right.
So you've got to try to think 2 downs here, get half the yardage on this 3rd down play, and then go for it in a manageable way on 4th down. But this is the ball game right here. You got 2 plays to convert 19 yards.
Well, they're taking all kinds of time with the clock running here to get the play off. Zach Smith hoping for something, and it's incomplete. Desperation heave. Colby Harvell-Peel broke it up. Juan Carlos Santana nearest, and now it's ultimate desperation time. 4th and 24, they have to go for it.
And see, that's why you have to try to just get a completion on the 3rd down play, so that you don't have 4th and 24.
It's a first game for 2 teams that had very difficult preseasons in terms of regular practice time. Particularly Tulsa, all the interruptions due to COVID.
They only had 1 full scrimmage.
Look out! Smith sacked. Not a safety. They're going to mark it on the 2, but it was Malcolm Rodriguez, the outstanding linebacker who came on the blitz untouched.
Yeah, little mix-up in the offensive line because it wasn't at full pressure, but nobody there for Malcolm Rodriguez, and he wraps him up like a state champion wrestler would do.
First and goal, Oklahoma State. Todd, I would think you take a knee here. Yeah, high snap. Why would you risk this? The only way you can lose this game, and Illingworth rescued a high snap, is if you give the ball back to Tulsa. Right? If you take a knee, they don't have any timeout. Well, they have the one timeout because they gave it back. But you know, at this point, I think try to score on third down if you want to.
Right. The safe thing is to take the knee, but I think that was a pride thing, an ego thing, saying we want to put more points on the board. But you're right. Now they're going into victory mode. They're putting Chuba Hubbard back on the 20.
Well, that was this close to sailing over his head, and who knows who picks that up.
You're not
and perhaps runs in the opposite direction. They do have the timeout left, Tulsa, because it was the Oklahoma State timeout on defense with 1 second on Tulsa's play clock. Zach Smith, the headset on, hoping for another chance, but unlikely to get it. Yeah, I think you move it into the middle of the field, and then if you compelled, kick a field goal in the last play. Chuba Hubbard. So this will bring up fourth down. I mean, if you kick the field goal, you go up by 9, and it's ball game over.
Right.
You do risk a problem on the field goal. But if you snap it and don't get it, run a play, you're going to leave them maybe 20 seconds.
I think they might take a penalty here or just call timeout right before the play clock goes down. They're going to run the clock down as far as they can before they do anything.
Right, they're trying the field goal here. Just got to make sure you have good execution with this field goal operation. Alex Hale has had a good day as their new starting field goal kicker, and that should finally put it in the win column for Oklahoma State. 29-yarder. Illingworth certainly brought some juice. I mean, we heard it from the crowd when he ran on the field. They knew who he was. They've heard and read about him. And it looked like he brought a little life to the offense, almost as if they believed in him when he stepped out on the field.
I thought it was interesting, the report that Chris gave, that right before he came on the field, he had that exchange with Tylan Wallace, who was shut out in the first half, and obviously went right to him right away, and that changed the game offensively for Oklahoma State.
Many of these top quarterback prospects are so well coached in high school and in camps that when they get here, a lot of them are ready to go on opening day, and it's a good thing for Oklahoma State that Illingworth was. Lovick, the fair catch. When you go 0 for 12 on third down, you commit 15 penalties for 121 yards. It's almost hard to imagine that you were down by 1 score until the final 20 seconds of the game.
Yeah, and this is a team I think that could be a really good football team. They've got to clean some things up, no question. And then go on the road to Arkansas State next week, and that will not be an easy game either.
Again, we need to cut them some slack too, because about as much as any other team in the country, their preseason interrupted by COVID-19. Colby Harvell-Peel with the interception. That should be the fitting conclusion here. Jim Knowles said, I think the defense is ready to lead the way for the offense. That hasn't happened very often at Oklahoma State. At least they can be equal partners.
Absolutely.
And today they did carry the day, as they did a few times late last season for Oklahoma State.
Well, the key to doing what they want to do, winning the Big 12 championship, obviously their first conference game next week against West Virginia. But they've got to knock off their neighbor. I mean, they're 0-5 the last 5 years against Oklahoma in the Bedlam game. They're 4-1 against Texas the last 5 years. And both Oklahoma and Texas ranked ahead of Oklahoma State right now in the polls. But they got to find a way to beat the Sooners.
Chuba Hubbard will come up with 94 yards. And his streak of consecutive 100-yard games lands at 11. That was the longest active streak in the nation. It was a struggle throughout. Mike Gundy lost his starting quarterback early. Never really looked in sync, with the exception on one drive engineered by Illingworth. And too many costly mistakes for Philip Montgomery's Golden Hurricane. For Chris Budden, Todd McShay, Todd Blackledge, I'm Sean McDonough saying so long from Stillwater. The final score 16-7, Oklahoma State. Now back to the studio to Matt, Jesse, and Joe.